What's up everyone, welcome back to another What If video. This What If might not seem that impactful at first, but once you begin to look at it, you can see how majorly it actually affects the story. This scenario is set off by one simple change. Instead of setting his sights on Krillin, Frieza decides to target Gohan on Namek instead and kill him. As we've seen in the last part, this affects a lot of the story. Cell is now dead, even after he utilized Kaioken to counter Gohan's Super Kaioken, and he was defeated by a father-son Kamehameha, except Goku was alive this time, and Gohan only showed the power of Super Saiyan 2 for a brief moment and didn't actually unlock it yet. Alongside that, we saw Gohan surprisingly was taught instant transmission, since Goku thought that it may be best to teach him that. Let's continue from here. Now that the Cell arc is over, we get into the time skip. The androids are still alive this time, but Krillin and 18 never actually had their interaction, so that doesn't really go anywhere, and 17 is pretty unimportant to this part as well. However, 16 never died in the last part, so he sticks around with not really much to do. For now, he's mainly just a bodyguard at Capsule Corp, since he's a robot and he doesn't have any true purpose anymore, sadly, since he no longer wants to kill Goku thanks to some programming. Goku is obviously still alive, and he spends a lot of time training with Gohan to unlock that power he showed off, as well as with Vegeta. The Saiyans actually train a lot together, with Gohan being very motivated to train this time around. In this scenario, an important change in Gohan occurred when Frieza killed him. He no longer wanted to be a defenseless kid. If he was stronger and not afraid to fight, maybe he wouldn't have died against Frieza. And he actually accomplished this by saving Earth from Cell's explosion, as well as helping killing Cell when he regenerated after it. He of course still attends school, but he's very motivated to train nonetheless. Similar to what happened in my What If about Goku going to Vampa after Namek, Gohan actually becomes the Great Saiyan earlier on, which in turn means he meets Videl earlier too. With all of his training and his desire to help people, as well as the fact that he wants to be able to get to school without people finding out he has the powers that he has, he takes up the disguise of the Great Saiyan so no one suspects that it's him, except Videl of course. Besides that, Gohan's training is going pretty well. He, Goku, and Vegeta have all actually accessed Super Saiyan 2 during the time skip, with Gohan still being the strongest of the group. And since a lot of you suggested it, Vegeta actually learns to use the Kaioken during this time of training. While Goku and Gohan did get Super Saiyan 2, they want to add to it by putting Kaioken on top of it just like they did with Super Saiyan. Vegeta didn't want to be left behind of course, and he demanded that Kakarot would teach him this technique, and he got what he wanted. Now you might think people just suggested it because it sounds cool, or that I'm putting it here because of that, but when you think about it, it makes sense. So many of the characters in this scenario know how to use the Kaioken, so why would Vegeta willingly be left out, especially when it increases his power so greatly? And of course during this time period, Goten is still born. Now with all of that out of the way, we can get into the Buu saga. The World Tournament is coming around, and most of the same people join, except 18 obviously isn't present for it in this scenario. Instead, Goku actually seeks out Tien to see if he wants to join, as well as Yamcha. Given the old times where Goku would be at tournaments with these two, he wants to try to go back to that again, since it sounds like fun. So in 18's place, we actually have Tien and Yamcha, with one of them instead taking the place of one of those unimportant side characters that was part of the tournament. This is a nice reunion to see, and even though Chaozu's only spectating this one since he feels like he's too weak to face the people he knows, we have a lot of the original tournament members from Dragon Ball: Goku, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, and Piccolo. The tournament itself is pretty routine. We get the same setup for it all, and we end up reaching the part where Videl fights Spopovich, and we have that brutal scene of her fighting him, followed up with the usual events of Shin and Kibito coming into the story. Gohan goes up against Kibito, and this time, he shows off much more power to him. Gohan at Super Saiyan 2 is actually more powerful than he was originally, despite unlocking it later. Even though it did take him longer to unlock it, he got way more training in the 7 years than he did originally, as well as being able to use Kaioken on top of it. So he cranks it up to Super Saiyan 2 and then Kaioken times 10 on top of that to show Kibito his true power. Of course, he can't maintain this for long. So it's really just for show. This is when Spopovich and Yamu strike, and Kibito makes the grave mistake of letting it happen. Spopovich and Yamu fly off with the group chasing after like normal, with Tien and Yamcha joining in this time to help them. At Babidi's ship, he's happy to see that the two got the power for Buu's revival, and then he proceeds to kill them. Dabura ends up killing Kibito like normal, and he ends up turning Piccolo and Krillin to stone. But this was a big mistake for him, since the Saiyans, even individually, far outclassed Dabura, and Gohan actually fights him outside of the spaceship and wins with little effort. Shin tells him that defeating Dabura will result in Piccolo and Krillin coming back, and since they don't have time to mess around any longer, Gohan actually kills Dabura, which allows Piccolo and Krillin to return to normal. Now normally Gohan wouldn't really be up to killing people, but I feel like this would be something he would do just because of the fact that it saves Piccolo and Krillin, And he knows Dabura is a huge threat, so there's not really anything else they could do. He learned his lesson with Cell. He can't be afraid to do stuff like that. This whole scenario is focused around him having a change of heart after Frieza killed him. So he's not exactly like the Gohan that we know. He knows when killing must be done, even if it's something that he doesn't really want to do. Except for the now dead Kibito, everyone heads into the spaceship. Babidi is shocked to sense Dabura's death, but he doesn't care too much this time. Kibito didn't realize it, but Gohan's energy this time around was more than enough to revive Buu. Not only was he stronger in Super Saiyan 2, but he had Kaioken as well, giving the two Majin servants much more energy than they got originally. In the actual story, Gohan's energy was about half of what Babidi needed to revive Buu, so this time around it would certainly be more, not just because of the training, but the fact that he had Kaioken on top of Super Saiyan 2, so of course he's going to put out a lot more energy. There's no need for fights inside of the ship, and there's no need for Babidi to possess Vegeta. Babidi probably wouldn't even be able to possess Vegeta in this scenario since Goku's still been alive for the past 7 years, and Vegeta wouldn't really have the desire to change it because Goku's been around. It doesn't really matter either way. He's happy that he has the power he needs now. The group arrives in the ship, but it's way too late. They see Babidi teleport out with the egg, and he smirks towards everyone, thanking them for their contribution in power. While Kibito and Shin's plan allowed the group to track down the ship, it also allowed Babidi to awaken Buu. The egg begins to crack as Buu emerges from it to the surprise of everyone. Things have taken a turn for the worst, and the only thing the group can do now is fight. First, some of the Z fighters go to kill Babidi, since it's the easiest thing they could do right now. The Saiyans hold off Buu and allow for this, so the group has at least taken care of Babidi. Shin warns them that they can't defeat him, but they at least want to attempt it. Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta go Super Saiyan 2 together and attack Buu, which is actually able to injure him a bit, but he keeps regenerating as they run out of stamina. Buu is getting angrier and angrier. These guys are starting to really annoy him. And on top of that, Vegeta is slinging insults at him left and right, and that just makes Buu more enraged since he kinda has a short temper anyways. Eventually, the Saiyans all use Kaioken on top of Super Saiyan 2, and collectively fire a blast at Buu which seemingly disintegrates him. The group is relieved. That wasn't really that hard. But then Shin notices that there's still pieces of him around, and he begins to heal. The group ends up falling back for a bit as they watch Buu reconstruct himself, and then he begins steaming. All of the frustration and anger from this fight is beginning to get to him, along with the fact that they're trying to kill him, and he suddenly ends up splitting into Good Buu and Evil Buu right in front of the group. "Great, now there's two of them?" Vegeta shouts as he tries to attack, but Goku and Shin hold him back. The two Boos begin to fight each other, with Evil Buu clearly having the advantage. Since no one really knows what to do, the Z Fighters and Shin just watch, because maybe the Boos can just kill each other. But then they see as Evil Buu begins to absorb Good Buu, and he creates Super Buu. No one is sure what just happened, but then Buu turns to them and charges. He spreads his arm open to absorb the group, and a few of them dodge in time, but Buu is too fast for some of the others and gets them. Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, and Shin all make it out of the way. But Buu closes in on the humans and Piccolo. In an attempt to save some of them, Piccolo is able to fling Tien back, and Krillin pushes Yamcha out of the way. So while it saves those two, Krillin and Piccolo end up getting absorbed by Buu. With one person dead and two people absorbed, Shin yells to the group to retreat, as they quickly gather around him and he teleports away to the planet of the Kais while Buu is transforming. Buu's absorption of Krillin and Piccolo goes smoothly and it comes complete, creating a version of Super Buu that takes on Piccolo's traits like Buccolo, but has the powers of Krillin as well. Krillin? I don't really know what to call him here, but let's stick with Buu for now. He has all of the strategic mastery and techniques of Krillin, as well as the power and intelligence of Piccolo. He might not seem that threatening, given that it's just Krillin and Piccolo inside him, but this makes Buu here extremely smart and cunning with the two he's absorbed. What he lacks for in the power that he might have had as Buu tanks in the original, he makes up for in intelligence, as well as his new array of techniques and strategies from Krillin. He heads off to begin destroying Earth, and of course to find some sweets for himself to eat. That group that he was just fighting just seemingly disappeared, but he doesn't want to worry about it right now. He just wants to go off and do what he wants to. Just like they originally did, Goten and Trunks actually left the tournament to go follow Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and that whole group to see if they could help in any way. Goten and Trunks end up arriving to the scene, but they're too late. They don't see anyone around, other than a few scraps left of Kibito, the abandoned ship, and Buu's egg. Buu has now gone off on his own to spread havoc. They sense the energy of Buu and it's really strong, but they feel the energy of Krillin and Piccolo in his direction as well, but no one else. Is everyone dead? Did Goku and Gohan instant transmission somewhere with them? They're not really sure what happened, but they want to help and they want answers, and they also want to go find Boo. But then they hear a voice talking to them. It's Dende. He's been watching what happened, and he will explain to them what's going on, and he wants to help them, but he first tells them to gather the others at the tournament and help to bring them to the lookout. Since this is basically God telling them what to do, they decide to head back to the tournament and get their friends, since this seems like the safest option for now. Dende knows what's going on, and he could help them. This is where we'll leave off for now. What did you think about this part, and how do you think it'll affect the future parts? How will the group end up matching up against Boo? Can they even defeat him, or will Boo prevail? What will Shin do with them on the planet of the Kais? Comment your suggestions below as we prepare for the next part. As always, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications about future parts of this What If and other videos of mine. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next part.